Hi guys, I'm Susie from Suna, and I know most of you watching already know me, so that's really cool. Thank you for coming along and tuning into our first webinar. It's really exciting. We get lots of questions here every day on email, on our website, on our Facebook, from people wanting to know what we do at Suna and what we can do for you. And so what we thought we'd do is a series of webinars that I believe it becomes a video that's somewhere on the internet. You can just play again, and so people can check out what we do and what we have a history of doing and what we're good at. So we're going to start with backs because it's a really easy one. I started this business almost 20 years ago, and I actually have broken my back in several places and broken my neck. Probably started breaking myself when I was about 19, thanks to snowboarding. Nothing too serious, just some cracked vertebrae, so I was very lucky there. However, it really did get me working to heal myself. I didn't like having neck pain. I didn't like having trigeminal nerve pain. I didn't like getting migraines. I didn't like having sciatic pain. That wasn't fun, and taking painkillers is never a great thing for your gut either. So back pain is something that I have had quite seriously, have not had for a very long time, which is fantastic. And without any intervention, I have managed to build my body into a body that is functional and that is pain-free. And so that's what we're after. So what I thought I'd do tonight is talk about some of the major issues that people have with their backs. So some of the most common ones we see at Suna. This is what we do all day, every day. You know, we don't just have over 130 classes a week in our Takapuna studio for Pilates. So that's for postural adjustment, core strength, functional, that sort of stuff. We also have a whole bunch of solos every week, so a whole lot of rehab, whole lot of prehab. And then, of course, we do kinesiology and nutrition and all these sorts of things that are actually needed to figure out what's happening with the body and how we can help you fix it and help your body heal. So when it comes to backs, we're going to have a look at a couple of the whys and the wheres. And, of course, you know, for your back, we would really need to see you. Ideally, you would come in and see us, and so we could have a good look. There are definitely some things that will help most backs, and I'll give you all the tips that I can tonight. And if there's anything else you want, do just send us a note, and I will keep, apparently I have to scroll up here. Strengthen your core, yes we will. Hi Robin, how are you? New gig for you, this is a new gig for me too. We can do it together, we can talk about it in the studio. So we are going to talk about some whys and what happens, and it's not really scary stuff. We have helped a lot of backs heal over the past 20 plus years. We're also going to talk about some really basic things we can do to help your body and your system fix whatever back problems you have going on. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the whys. Now, with backs, there's a whole lot of reasons why. And remember, the back, technically, that's the whole spine. So you got your neck, you got your upper back, around the brow line's a really common area for people, but the most common area we see is the lumbar spine or the low back. And that would be a good 90% of back issues we see. Also, though, we have, you know, I would say more than 60% of the women we see also have neck tension. Men primarily come in with the low back tension, ache or pain. Women often come in with the neck tension too. And often with neck tension, you've actually had low back tension for a long time, and it's just actually crept up the spine and involved itself in your neck as well. So why might we have back pain? Well, number one, we do have, hi Rob, thanks for coming. Number one, we do have people who have injuries, such as myself. Had a bunch of injuries, hit trees, was going too fast, was having a lot of fun. And so sometimes we have an injury and it is something that we need to understand what it is. But once we understand what that injury is and what the impact is, so for example, have you damaged a vertebrae? Have you damaged a disc? Is there a problem with the nerves? Once we have a look at these facets of your injury, we can really look at how we can get the musculature to support that. Function. is another big issue that we come up with. So sometimes people, we get students who are always studying, and they're studying this way and this way only. And their computer's here and their notes are here, or vice versa. And because they're twisting one way, they will come up with some functional issues. They may only be able to turn one way, not the other way, as the back is trying to account for sitting in a poor posture. Often we see functional issues with the back from, for example, driving. Because most people's cars are automatic these days, you are using your right leg, and often the left leg is pulled up and the left knee is hiked up, and so the pelvis is twisted, and this just causes a lot of shortening and locking on one side of the back and lengthening in the opposite side of the hip flexor. So these will cause functional issues that will make you more prone for injuries as well. So how we sit, where we sit, they're things to be really, really aware of. Posture is one of the biggest ones, and it's really the low-hanging fruit, and it's something that is it's foundation really for us to look at for all of your health. So whether you have gut issues, back issues, neck issues, anxiety, depression, you name it, anything you have, being aware of where your posture is and how to correct that posture when you're standing, when you're sitting, maybe even when you're lying for some people, is absolutely crucial, because the muscles were made to hold your skeletal system up in a really nice, I want to say straight, a nice efficient line. And when we sit a lot, which our society currently are quite sitters, what we do is, because our legs are up here, our hip flexors at the front shorten. Have you ever been on a long car trip and you're sitting down and you've driven to Owakuni, which is often mine, driven 4 hours, and you get up and you're like, oh, that's so tight. Now, if I sit a lot and I shorten the hip flexors at the top of my pelvis, what happens is I end up with a huge tilt in my pelvis. So it means my abs are not working and my lower back is working. So sitting in itself is enough to really stimulate the low back to work. Our bodies actually weren't made to sit. We sit a lot, yet functionally we're not made to sit. We have the same bodies as our ancestors 10,000 years ago. We have the same bodies as, you know, when we lived in huts and caves. And we were made to squat around our fires, we were made to lie down, and we were made to stand up. Sitting is actually a really big challenge for a back. Keeps the back really active and it stops the abs working. Challenges digestion. And all sorts of other things in the body as well. Challenges our breathing, lung capacity, you name it. All right, so we have injuries and function, we have posture, and a lot of people just aren't aware of where their posture should be. So if you are unaware of where your posture should be, one of the first things you can do is go to our website. So it's just suna.co.nz. And we have some postural functional tips and videos on there for you. Now, why is it so important? Well, if you've been sitting a lot, which most people have, you'll find that the muscles that are supposed to be holding you up and helping you breathe and making everything easy for your body to pump everything through are probably not working so well. So when you start correcting your posture and being aware of it on a daily basis, it makes such a big difference to your energy, to how your body's feeling, to feeling nice and relaxed through the spine, not tight. I have quite a few friends who do all sorts of massage and body work, and one of the most common things people say when I send them to them is, oh, I didn't realize I was so tight. Then I got on the table and I went, oh, wow, that is really tight. So postural awareness is really key, and on our website we've got a whole bunch of videos that can show you, just remembering that posture is built from the base up. So if you are standing, it is an awareness of how you're standing on your feet. Where is your weight? Is it on your toes? Is it on your heels? If our weight is on our toes, we tend to thrust the pelvis forward and overwork the low back. We tend to challenge the knees. It puts a lot of pressure in the spine, okay? If we're standing, for example, this weekend, I'll be standing watching the kids play rugby. All you do is just bring a little more weight back to your heels, and it tends to settle the posture a little more. Gets the bum and the back of the legs working, and these are muscles that really need to drive and support the pelvis and all the gut functions as well. So even just standing up, putting a little weight back on your heels, toes still on the ground, can make quite a big difference. And we've got a whole bunch of tips on the website for you. Gut and the diet. Now, this is something a lot of people are unaware of when they start working with us here. And if you have a problem in your tummy, and the gut's really popular right now, everyone's about gut health and fermentation and this and that. When it comes down to it, if you have any inflammation in the gut, so any of your tubes are not really sitting in the right place, you might have some rib torque, you might have tension in the pelvis from a really big tilt. And what this does is all the tubes inside you that digest your food and get it from here to out there, they can actually be sitting at positions that doesn't make it easy for you to digest. You could be having a diet that is full of sugars. Sometimes people say to me, oh yes, I eat salads all the time and tons of fruit. Understand those things are carbohydrates too. They break down into sugars. So if you are not eating right for your metabolic type, and I believe on our website we have metabolic typing and nutritional stuff as well that you can just look up. It's there to make you healthy, there to make it easy. If you have any inflammation in the gut, and this is also things like leaky gut, irritable bowel syndrome, and then Crohn's, these are issues where the gut has been having functional issues for a long time. And so you're not eating the right diet, you're not properly hydrated, all sorts of things are happening. Now, if there's inflammation in the gut, the brain actually can't tell the difference posturally for the inner gut wall versus the outer abdominal wall. So often your abs will switch off. Sometimes we get people in the studio and they're like, oh, I just can't feel my low abs. And by low abs, I mean, if you find your belly button, move the fingers down from the belly button above the pubic bone and cough, you'll feel those little muscles jumping out. So we're talking about the transverse abdominals, which actually help support the entire spine, but particularly the low back if you have low back pain. And we have people coming in saying, look, I can't feel anything there at all, and they're not getting movement. And, oh, I've just got a big belly and I'm bloated and it's this and it's this. And actually, they've got masses of inflammation in the gut. And you're not going to get the abs working until that inflammation is dealt with. But it's not hard to do. There's a lot of things we can do about that that can make a really big difference within a couple of days, okay? For some people within a day, which is really exciting. So how your gut functions and where everything's sitting and what your diet is and the quality of your diet and whether you have any inflammation, these are all really, these all have really big impacts on how your back functions and how your back works. Every muscle in the body has a muscular pair. So I have a bicep and a tricep, and only one works at a time. I have a push and a pull. They don't work at the same time, or else my arm would go nowhere. So if my low abs aren't working, guess what has to work to support me? That's my back. So if we have gut issues and the abs aren't working, or you can't feel the abs and you can't get them working, it could be, and primarily is what I see, is because the gut's not working, so the back has to work for you. And that causes a load of issues because that's not what the low back was made to do, okay? We need those abs functional. The last one on my main list here is stress. And, stress, what is stress? Stress is going overboard or underboard in anything. It could be too little something, too much something. But worrying about it, that's what stress really is. As long as we're having fun, we tend to keep our stress quite low. So fun is really crucial to healing backs. When we get really into our pain, and sometimes back pain is so bad, you can't move. You are on the floor. You have a weak leg because of the nerves. I've had this back pain before, and it is horrific. It is mind-numbing, time-consuming, and it fills all of your thoughts. So finding something that is fun and finding ways to not hold on to stress are actually really, really important. Now, stress-wise, if I'm worried, if I have a meeting coming up tomorrow and I go, oh, what will happen? And if this happens, I'll do this. And if this happens, I'll do this. And, oh, what if they say that? What if they don't go for it? When I'm thinking about it, I have actually biochemically just lived that stress event. And all the 20 different ways I imagined it to happen, or 50 different ways I imagined it to happen. And so my body is believing that I'm living this stressful event, and it's not, because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to turn up tomorrow, and what's going to happen is going to happen. My only job is to turn up and be me, and we'll see what happens, and everything works out, and it's never as bad as you think, right? But here's the issue. If I'm thinking that way, and I'm thinking worrisome thoughts all the time, I'm creating cortisol, I'm creating stress hormones, I'm creating adrenaline. They wash over my brain, and they put me in sympathetic dominance, in fight or flight. So we have an autonomic nervous system that runs everything in the body. So I'm not thinking of making new cells right now to keep myself so super youthful. What I'm actually doing is I just have a system that runs it for me. It's autonomic. And this system has a brake and an accelerator. And our brake is our parasympathetic system. And if my brake's on, if you've ever just sat down and had a really great poo, comes out real nice, it's real sweet, nice easy job, felt good about it, that's because I've got my brake on. I took a break to take a poo. If I'm digesting really well, I've got my parasympathetic system on. If I sleep really well, I've got my brake on, my parasympathetic. So sleeping properly and actually resetting and regenerating and resting and repairing, all those things, you must have the brake on. Some people sleep at night, yet they're still in sympathetic dominance. They have the accelerator on, so they're not really resting and repairing. So today's society, primarily that I see, everyone's got the accelerator on. I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I'm never doing enough. My goodness, this has to be done, and I'm rushing, and this, and this, and this. And I'm not being present. I'm thinking of all those things in the past that I can't get over, and I'm worried about all those things in the future that might happen, and none of which I can control either way. So best to stay in the present. So when I'm in the past or when I'm in the future in my head, when I'm worrying, I've got my accelerator on. So I can't poop properly, can't repair properly, and I can't digest properly. How exciting is that? And then the stress response rolls up. And this is our fight or flight response that was made for if a tiger is chasing me. I was walking home to my cave and I saw a tiger and I went, ah! And my body went, holy cow, we don't need a baby in there. We'll drop that out, and we don't need to digest. You're just going to poop yourself and wee yourself, and we're going to put all the energy from all those systems we just turned up into your big muscles, and we're going to run. And we run, and when we get away from the tiger, ideally our stress hormones go down and all our parasympathetic systems switch back on and we work again. Whereas today what I often see is we're running away from our tiger. Is it stress at work? Is it stress at home? Is it just a stressful thinking habit? And we're running away and we stay up here. We stay up in this fight or flight, sympathetic dominance response with our accelerator on all the time. And so day after day, week after week, we're not actually repairing. And if you have inflammation in the gut or inflammation in the back, no matter who you see, no matter what you do, unless you're getting that sympathetic response down so you can repair and put on your brake, you're not going to repair those things. So it's really important to understand, just how much we do have to work with the body. And we don't have to do all this. Very rarely do I find a client where I have to go through every single protocol of thoughts, breathing, hydration, nutrition, exercise, rest, all the great pull check things that we do. Usually it's just one or two little things, and the key is just finding what those things are, because no two backs are the same, okay? So stress is really crucial, and if you do have pain in your low back, that is a stress response. So stress, fear, and anxiety, those are the thoughts. How do we deal with these things? So some of you might say, oh, we've got, hi guys, hi Karen. Woo! Must come and see you soon, love you. So just making sure I hit everything. Low back pain after a full hip replacement. Again, when we talk about low back pain after a full hip replacement, it depends how long the leg length is. Sometimes people have two hips that aren't working. They'll have one corrected and they will make that length a little shorter, knowing they're going to go and do, a little longer, knowing they're going to do the other one in a couple of years or something like that. So it comes down to really posture. If you have had a hip replacement, just remember you've probably had a lot of time not putting weight on that hip, so the weight's on the other side, the pelvis is tilted, the pelvis is twisted, so the muscles aren't working evenly side to side, and those things are actually quite easy things to deal with. So we'll talk about how in just a minute. Hi Stacey. Oh, parasympathetic poo. Was I speaking correctly? Yeah. You're welcome, Robin. I enjoy speaking about poo. Okay. So we've got a whole lot of whys, we've got a whole lot of wheres in the back and where to feel it. So what do we do about this stuff? Here's what we're going to do. Really simple stuff. Number one, do you have any health issues, like any at all? The first thing I'm going to say is, please hydrate. Dehydration is a massive issue that actually causes so many more issues in the bodies. There's an author called, I think it's Dr. Batmanji, who wrote a book called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. It is worth a read to tell your brain how important it is to have water. Hydrated people really don't get sick that often. Water is super crucial. Now, how do I hydrate? Well, number one, I require about 1 litre of water per 25 kg I weigh per day. So if I am 65 kg, I will need just under 3 litres a day. I top it off at 3 litres just for fun. Number two, I need my water to be good quality water. I know people go, oh, tap water's good. Tap water has fluoride, well, in Auckland it does, not in all places, has fluoride and chlorine. It's a fluoride that's not actually bioavailable, so if you do have dental issues, go get fluoride painted on your teeth by your dentist. The stuff we have in our water is not bioavailable, so it's not helping us, and it looks like it's actually stored in the brain, so that's a massive problem for things like the pineal gland and all sorts of stuff. Number two, chlorine. Chlorine is in our water to clean our pipes. If you have someone come around and service your pool and they're putting chlorine in, and you know, we see this when we go to Fiji and they're tipping chlorine in, they've got masks and they've got goggles on. And this is in our water. If you're having a shower, the hot water is creating chlorine gas, and chlorine gas was a chemical weapon, and you are breathing it in. So quality of water is really important. So when you buy water, you want something with a good mineral content, and if you're really interested in the water and shower filters and stuff, just give us a quick email or a quick message and we'll make sure we get back to all of you tomorrow with any information you require. The other thing with hydration is if you just chuck water in, it's just going to go straight through. The enzymes in the mouth actually tell your gut what's coming. So if you're eating, you want to chew food until it is completely liquefied before you swallow it. And this will really help take a lot of energy that you waste out of digestion as well. Try and do a bunch of digestion in your mouth. And with water, you want to swirl it around the mouth. And get your kids to do this. This is a cool thing for kids. We taught kids to do this at Play Centre with my oldest son, who's now 14. And every now and then I've run into one of those kids who still does that, which is really cool because you taught them at like 3 or 4 or 5. And it's just going to help them actually hydrate. Like if you're shoving stuff in you, you may as well use it properly, right? So the only other thing with hydration is please don't drink out of plastic. There are some really cool vegetable starch plastics these days that aren't plastic, that don't leach anything, but any of your plastics recyclable, the more recyclable, the worse actually. Any of the plastics that you drink out of, when light or heat hits them, they release things like synthetic estrogens into your water. So that is not a great idea at all. Try and avoid aluminium as well. Aluminium is not something you want in the body or in the brain. So either, you know, go to the supermarket and buy a glass bottle of water and then reuse that glass if you've got some refillable filtered water. I drink out of, I've got stainless ones. Of course, I've got my big glass ones. Just take a quick sip so I can keep yapping at you. So it's quality, it's chewing your water before you swallow it, and it's the quality of what you're drinking out of as well. I know it seems like a lot, but they're actually really low-hanging fruit for health. These are things you can instigate today. These are things you can do really easily. Take you a week to get onto it, and then you're making better choices every single day. All right, so hydration. For any inflammation, that is crucial. Water is one of the easiest things to do. Number 2, posture. As I talked about on the Suna website, we have some postural videos and some postural tips. And of course, you can come in here and see us and we can correct your posture one-on-one. We'll make it work and we'll get you to understand. And the key really is knowing how. So sometimes people go, oh yes, I was always told to stand up straight. And they have their shoulders back and a very flat back. And that can cause issues as well. We don't want a lot of tension in the neck. We want a really fluid posture. And what we do with the Pilates side of Suna is we are strengthening the muscles to hold you in that correct posture. So we are often, for people whose legs aren't tracking correctly, we're strengthening the butt and the back of the legs and the muscles that externally rotate the legs so that you're tracking your legs properly, so that your pelvis is held properly. And we're just going to make you strong where you need to be strong. So you don't even need to try. You'll just be standing correctly like me. And in our classes, our trainers aren't doing it with you. They're saying, inhale, do this, exhale, do this. This is where you should feel it. Shoulders down, tattoos out. Okay, they're telling you exactly where to do it. They're manhandling you into position, so you're not just going through the motions. Some of our, lovely to see Janet, one of our first people in here, been with us since 2000. Thanks, Janet. But such a functional body. We have just some amazing clients, and watching people year by year improve to the point where you turn up in a class with people who've all been here more than 10 years, and the trainers just go, yeah, this is going to be awesome, because we can just really challenge you more. And no matter how long you've been here, and no matter what level you're at, whether walking is a challenge for you and you just need to get up and down, want to learn how to do that out of a chair, or whether you are an athlete, we do a whole bunch of Olympic athletes, you name it. We have the right programs for you, and it is all individual. Even in our classes, it's very individual. And of course, we have all the other processes we can take you through, from nutrition to kinesiology, whatever you need. So posture is absolutely crucial. Again, it's low-hanging fruit. Once you understand it, and it literally takes one session with us to understand where your posture should be, and then of course we practice it and strengthen it in every possible position you could ever be in. And that's where we use our exercise. So exercise is great for backs, and one of the hardest things for people with any pain anywhere is, I went to the gym and it just hurt my back, or my neck's sore every time I do this. So whoever you're going to for your exercise, they need to be looking at you as an individual. They need to be aware of posture. They need to be adjusting your posture through the session. In our classes, we start the class with, look, does anyone have any new pain? So we're aware of it. When everyone checks in, your file comes up on the screen and we know exactly where you're up to. We write little notes about you and give you gold stars. And sometimes our clients will come in, and it's crack up how often they come in, and they'll come in a moon boot and go, I'm called to do class A. And you go, yeah, you'll be fine. And then we're finding pads to build up the other leg so that we haven't twisted or dislodged the pelvic position. Sometimes people come and they go, hey, my back's really bad today. And they know to come 10 minutes early, and we will do a little bit of muscle testing and switch that off for you. But we always make sure during the classes, hey guys, this exercise is to work the back of the legs. If you are feeling the low back, you're doing it wrong, and you need to let us know right away, and we will adjust it. And someone will just put their hand up, yeah, I feel it back. Great, well, you know what you're doing. We need to tilt that pelvis forward more. We need to tuck the abs in. Do you feel it there now? Put more weight on your feet, not on your shoulders. And they go, oh yeah, great. And we've always got another variation. So some classes, we have people who cannot bend a certain knee at this time until they have surgery or until something happens. We have people who can't lift a head off a mat. We have all sorts. And our goal is to get everyone being able to do whatever they want to do. And it is just by paying that individual attention so that we know who you are and we know what we need to do to help you. And that's what we train our trainers in every single week. And they're the best trainers in the world. And I love them. Let's see, exercise, diet. So diet we went over, super important. Look, if you do have inflammation in the body, so you have aches, if you feel an ache, you have inflammation. There's something happening, and a huge majority of people have inflammation somewhere. Things that are reoccurring, pain that's reoccurring. This means that you are in sympathetic dominance, you're in fight or flight, and that's what we really need to work on. And sometimes just dealing with your autonomic nervous system will actually sort out all the issues really fast. It's amazing. People think they need to do all this exercise and all this special diet and this, and I just get them lying on these little blocks at night before they go to bed, and 3 days later it's all fine. So there are a whole bunch of things we can do to help there, but diet really is crucial. And when it comes down to it, it is no, man, I'm just in love with all of you. Sorry, just reading everything. Fantastic. Hi, Shells. Hi, Joe. Bring your baby in, Joe. Okay. That's the worst thing to say, isn't it? So diet. Number one, know your metabolic type. What fuel do you run off? What is a protein and what is a carbohydrate? So proteins, and again, there are proteins and carbohydrates in meat and in vegetables. Let's just be specific. But a protein is really a builder. It builds your iron, primarily protein. Okay, so that's our meats, anything with eyes or from eyes, eggs, things like that. Avocado is also very high in protein because of the good saturated fats in them. And then our carbohydrates, people go, I'm on a no-carb diet. What are you eating? Salad. That's an all-carb diet, okay? Carbohydrates break down into sugar and give us energy. Yes, there are vitamins. Yes, there's all these great things in them, but you don't want to overdo it, okay? Too much protein can be a problem for the body, but so can too much carbohydrate. And if you have inflammation, often people are on very high carbohydrate diets. There's a lot of sugars and a lot of starches. And of course, there's a lot of misinformation out there because people are trying to make money off you. They're selling you supplements that are actually making you sicker. They are selling you diets based on fear and the fact that everyone should be thin, and not really just letting people know what fuel they need. You know, if my truck needs diesel, I'm not going to put a meter 91 in it. It's finding the right fuel and understanding what that fuel does. Education is crucial. So knowing your metabolic type, what is my fuel? And then when you eat, then just stick to meat. And again, meat is fish. Fish is meat. Anything with eyes. Sometimes people go, I don't eat meat. They mean red meat. Anything that's an animal is meat. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, much, much harder to do, but it can be done. You just need a lot of things in every meal. So, you know, if you're sticking to a diet, as high quality food as possible is crucial. And we now know with all the big glycophosphate lawsuits in the States that Roundup has been poisoning people, and it's tested in pretty much all the food. Now, organic foods don't have sprays, and hopefully foods at your house don't have sprays. So just go for the highest quality, because what we don't want is toxins. If I have 2 apples and I dip one in some cleaning solution and maybe in some Jif or something at home, and I go, which apple do you want? You're going to take the one without toxins on it, right? So the high quality food, and it doesn't need to be expensive. Again, if you're stuck, let me know. Go through the tips that we've been doing for decades. High quality food, and just stick to as much real food as possible. So not prepackaged food. You want vegetables, you want meats, and you want fruits. If you want to do breads, really do get an organic bread. It's crucial. There are so many toxins and molds in wheats, so make sure it's organic. And number 2, ideally, make sure it's a sourdough, so it's got a live culture. A lot of people don't deal with breads well because they don't have enough fat, so, you know, slather it in butter, avocado, salmon, you name it. The better fat on bread, the better you can actually process it. When people have diets full of high starchy carbohydrates and sugars, it's a real challenge for the body to break down. And ongoing, that's one of the factors for things like leaky gut, which then leads to irritable bowel, which leads to other things as well. So, you know, we have a whole bunch of nutritional tips. If you're not sure what to do, again, come in and see us really easily. But we try and put as much on the website as we can, so that you're not, you know, reading through scrolls of information, but enough useful stuff so you can start making some changes. You know, if you can't make it here, you can't, but it's not hard to get help and actually make some changes in your life as well. Kinesiology is something that we do, and we get a lot of questions about the kinesiology. What is this magic thing? How do you do this? And I got into it about 16 years ago with Dr. John Kay, and we now do the chiropractic kinesiology, TBM, also. And the cool thing about it is all we have to do is push down on your arms or your legs, and you'll feel it go weak, and you just won't be able to hold it up at that angle. And then we'll tap something or rub something, and suddenly it's strong. So it's a really easy way to see what is functional in the body, and that's pretty much what I spend all day doing as well. We can also use that stuff for all the stress stuff and all the emotional stuff as well. You know, this is a computer, and I have some structure in here, and I have a ton of wiring and a ton of plumbing, and that's about as hard as the body is to deal with. So a lot of times we just need to reprogram. And so for us, understanding lifestyle, understanding your lifestyle, and you understanding those lifestyle factors that are going to be easy to change first to start getting some change, you know. It's not easy for most people to change. We have a comfort zone, and to move out of it, the body puts up all these roadblocks because it's just trying to keep you in this place that thinks you're safe. But there's always a way to do things a little bit better, and it is just doing them in the right amount at the right time for you. So kinesiology is super helpful, especially in finding out the why. So I do get a lot of clients who have said, oh, I've gone to everyone and my neighbour told me she saw you and her back was better. And that's a lot of what we get, because we're looking at more than just the structure or just the computer or just the plumbing. We can look at it all, and that's what we really enjoy doing. We have a staff who are super home. We have a staff who are super excited, you know. All of our staff just want to learn more. It's awesome. The questions I get every day, you come in and someone will go, hey, you know that client, blah, blah, blah. I was noticing in the shoulder bridges, they rolled their pelvis up, their toes on their right foot are lifting. Is that something to do with the low back? And I'm like, oh, yes, it is. That's so exciting, and this is what we'll do, and let's have a look. So it is an environment of learning. We're not going through the motions. We don't have contractors. We employ all of our staff, and generally they stay very long term. Our lovely Libby has been here 14, 15 years with me. Thank goodness. And I guess it's because everyone wants to learn. We're just here to help. We're just here to be of service, and we help ourselves too, and we learn from that. And we're all trying to be the funnest us as we can be. We're all trying to have the most fun we can. And to have fun, we need to be functional, and we need to be healthy. And it's no fun having a sore back. It's no fun having a husband with a sore back who's lying on the floor right now. Hey, Stace. But that's okay. We'll fix that up. That'll be fixed real soon. Horo, and yes, sourdough. Organic sourdoughs, amazing. You can make them too. Fantastic. Okay, adjusters. Here's another one. So we have chiropractors, and we have physios, and we have osteopaths, and we have musculoskeletal therapists, and we know a lot of them. I've been so lucky to meet so many people that are adjusters, and we do some adjustment here. However, if you come to us and I see that you need some serious adjustment, and it doesn't need to be crack, you know, you can use an adjuster. There's really gentle ways to do this as well, so don't be afraid of adjusters. We will match you with the one that will suit you. I use different adjusters for different things. So, and again, I would see an adjuster probably every 2 weeks, but I do like to run quite hard, and I don't mean run literally. I won't be running anywhere. Lie down and read books while I exercise online. I just squat to get ready for ski season. But I do see different adjusters for different reasons. I have ones that are better at extremities. I have ones that are just better matched for different people. You know, if you like a good hard crack, I have ones that like that. If you like a really gentle way, I have ones that do that. And I probably go on average every 2 weeks, and I take the kids through probably every 2 to 3 months, maybe every month when it's rugby season, because the boys are getting dumped quite a bit. So I just like to make sure everything's in alignment, and that's my structure. That's really great to do as well. So a regular adjuster can be good. I guess all you need to be aware of is, for me, you know, if I'm trying something, I remember when I tried acupuncture, and had this awesome Chinese medic, and you got to try it for at least 10 sessions. You know, unless someone's making you uncomfortable, don't go back. You need to be comfy with whoever you're dealing with. But sometimes people go, I tried acupuncture and it didn't do anything. How often did you go? I went for 1.5 hour session. No, you might need to go every day for a week. You might need to go every week for 10 sessions. Okay, don't just take one session. On the other hand, if you are going to someone weekly and after 10 sessions you're not feeling any difference, it might be time to say to them, look, is there something else I can do? What would be helpful? Why aren't I noticing any difference? And again, as someone who is helping someone's body heal, you don't always know how long something's going to take, but I'm a big fan of showing people where their changes are and helping them get those changes, so that, you know, it's so much easier to stick with something when you see the difference it's making. Supplementation. So we do needs and use testing here. So we can test if we do have any deficiencies. Often if we have inflammation, we are dehydrated. And we might actually need more fats and good quality oils, and not all oil supplements are the same. So that is something that we can look at for you. We also do other products. Oh, and the magnesiums. Magnesium's really popular as well now, and for good reason. It can make a huge difference. But just remember, there's no one thing as the be-all, end-all. Yes, for some people, they suddenly start spraying magnesium and sleep through the night like a baby. But that is not the majority of people. It's great when that happens, but it's not one thing. And as you change in your life and grow and understand different things, the things you need are different. What I was doing for my body last year, some of it I'm still doing for my body, but some of it I've got some new things that I do. I'm loving my new my cryo solutions in Takapuna at the moment. Thanks, Jill. I'm liking freezing myself. I'm just prepping for ski season. But I'm finding a really big difference in my skin and also energy afterwards as well. It's fantastic. So I'm just really keen on moving with things that make me feel great, and knowing when I don't need something at the moment, and then knowing when it's adding something else is more beneficial for me. And then often I go back to things I used to do years ago. For example, stress. If you have a lot going on in your head and you feel quite tight all the time, how about every morning and every night thinking of 10 things you are grateful for? And don't put them in order and don't do the same things. I'm really grateful my children are healthy. I'm really grateful I have a house to live in. I am really grateful for these friends and these workmates and these people in my life and this love in my life and my husband and whatever. I'm really grateful for that orange handbag because it makes me so happy just to look at it. Whatever it is, thinking of 10 things you're grateful for every morning and every night actually creates really great hormones for the body. If you've been in a habit of worrying and thinking stressful thoughts and worrying about a future you can't control, and stuck on a past you can't change, start replacing this with gratitude, and you will actually make a biochemical difference in your body. You will actually feel better for it. And we did this test years ago with about 100 clients, and the results were staggering. Within a week, everyone was rating their stress as so much lower. So that's one of the first things you can do. And that alone has got rid of people's back pain before. How exciting is that? Back on the supplements, here's another one. Here's my favourite. OMR, Organic Muscle Rub. And my buddy Keith makes this. It's really cool. It smells so good. What I like about it is you rub it on something, and it's all organic, obviously. You rub it on, so you've got a tight neck and traps. And you rub it on there, and if it needs to heat, it will have a heated sensation. If it needs to cool, it will cool. It's like magic. I have clients who play golf and, say, for example, have some knee issues, and we're dealing with knee tracking, and some of them might have cartilage issues and bone on bone, and they're like, oh, I just rub this on liberally before I go play golf and I'm absolutely fine. So this actually warms up and really helps you be mobile. Sometimes at the beginning of classes, I can see, I might be taking someone for an exercise session, and I can see people are tight. And I'll just go, hey, yeah, you mind if I rub a little bit of this on your neck? Oh, yes, my neck is tight today. We rub it on, and we just get so much more done in this session, which is fantastic. We get a lot deeper. So something like this can also be really useful. And again, it's in my first aid kit. I have one in my car. Keep it that way up, though, because it does melt in the heat in your car, and it does go everywhere if you do that. But supplementation, little things like this can really help as well, okay? So what did we learn about backs today? Everything and nothing. So many reasons why we can have pain in our bodies and in our backs, and so many ways to help our bodies heal and get over that pain. Regardless of what the issue is, if you would like to come and see us, I have just opened up a bunch more sessions for this coming month, and we are doing a special. So it's only $125 for that first session with me. And for anyone who's going on tonight, if you give us a call or give us an email, we will get back to you and make you a booking, and I will just keep opening more times until I have been through everyone, so we can meet your body and see what is needed. And hopefully you can put a few of these things into practice tonight, like the water would be really, really good. And hopefully we will see you in here sometime. So thank you very much for coming, everybody. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thanks for the lovely comments. I'm really, really grateful. I love sharing this information, and I have been so fortunate to have such amazing mentors and to have such amazing information and experience in my life. And my favourite thing is to be able to help you with yours. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for coming.